welcome to Dove and Dragon Radio. I'm your host, M.L.Ruscsak. I'm here with one of Dove and Dragon's very own authors. Welcome. You want to announce your name for our listeners?
Hello, my name is Brian James.
See, we have Mjolnir out. We have Grunts in the Smoke, which is me and you both worked on, which is
Correct.
our military anthology, but you have a wonderful one coming out October 1st.
And that would be Draugar.
So,
another one with a strange title.
I know you're the king of those strange titles that I can never pronounce correctly.
Well, I can't. So far, I have yet to find 3 people who can pronounce Mjolnir correctly, and I blame the Nordic people for putting consonants where consonants don't belong.
I know, but then they're so fun to say wrong.
I mean, even in the Thor movie, they make fun of the word Mjolnir. Kat Denning, when she's trying to say the name of the hammer, just gives up and calls it Mew Mew.
Yeah, it's just we give up on the Norse names because, seriously, there's too many continents and not enough vowels.
Exactly. They seem to have forgotten the whole concept of vowels.
So, okay, let's start with Mjolnir. This one is very fun. We just republished it under Dove and Dragon earlier this year.
That's correct.
And it's a twist on the Norse gods. Like, there's a serious twist in there, and it's fun, and it's a little bit out there, but at the same time, I can't say how much fun this book is to go through.
Well, first of all, it's made to be fun. Considering what we're kind of all going through right now, I think we can all use a little bit of fun.
Very true.
I mean, not just the COVID thing, but can anyone even look at the news without getting depressed one way or the other?
Really, no. I can't even turn the news on. I just can't.
So it's made to get. One of the things I enjoy doing with what I write is giving people a break from the daily grind of bad news, politics, and in the case of now, pandemics.
Mm-hmm.
Just take a little break from it. Read something fun, and enjoy yourself for a few hours.
I mean, that's all we can really do right now because you can't just stay in this pandemic state of mind. You're going to get depressed.
Yes, you will, very quickly.
Yeah. So we have to have things that are fun to read.
Exactly.
So that's where you got Mjolnir. But then we go over to Grunts in the Smoke, and you have a short story in there.
Mm-hmm.
So you want to
and
tell
that one's called Cursed. That one's called
Sand.
Cursed Sand. And that one does not have a strange Nordic title because there's nothing Nordic about it. We
were going for the military anthology. This was wrote for the Marines.
Correct. And this one was, seeing as there have been Marines based in Iraq for, what is it now, going on
20
oh,
years?
Good Lord, not going on 20 years. That seems impossible, but yes, going on 20 years. The old site of Babylon is in Iraq. And back in the Bible, Isaiah predicts that Babylon would fall, and after its fall, it would be uninhabited and a place where demons dance. Well, he got that kind of right because the actual site has been uninhabited consistently from the time it originally fell. And to this day, there's a superstition amongst the Bedouin who they may walk through there during the day, but they will not stay there during the night. So I've got a fire team of Marines that gets trapped in there at night, and they find out why you don't hang around in there.
which makes it an excellent story.
All your worst nightmares come to life.
Either one, right? Because
Correct.
it can go either way. Now, we have the new one coming out October 1st. Now, I haven't had the chance to actually sit down and read anything from this one, but I know it's going to be a stellar book because you wrote it, and it's coming out right at Halloween.
Yep, and it is called Draugar. Now, in northern mythologies, in northern histories, Draugars are history's first undead. They are sort of a proto-creature that has the characteristics of both a zombie and a vampire. And then after that, if you want to go into other mythology, you could say that if vampires evolved from Draugars along one line, zombies along another. But that's a whole other conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Back in 113 BC, this is a little-known part of real history, the Romans invaded Denmark. Now, it did not go great for them because they got chased out of Denmark and all through Germany and took the heaviest losses that they had taken to that point in the Republic and didn't quite find their way to deal with these northern people until they got back across the Alps and into Italy. And the Teutons and the Cimbri were more than happy to follow them because, well, Italy's a lot more, let's say it's a better climate than Denmark.
Yeah.
But I take that real event of that invasion of Denmark by the Romans, and they don't find, they of course find pre-Viking people there, but they also find the undead.
Well, of course you
and
can't
so
have just Vikings. You have to have the undead there, too.
Correct. So you've got Romans versus zombies versus slightly insane gods.
Have you reached the point where we see what kind of writer Brian is? I mean, seriously, we have a little bit of history put in there. We take history and we morph it, and then we put the undead in there.
And I love history. That's what I went to school for until I found out that you can't make a living at it.
I know. It's so sad. I wanted to go into archaeology until I realized you don't get money. You have to be a historian to get the money, not the archaeologist.
And see, we went along kind of the same path because I also went and participated on some digs, and you don't make anything unless you're one of the rare archaeologists who makes a tremendous find. Mm-hmm. Digging is your part-time job. Teaching is your full-time job.
Right. And that's where Indiana Jones got it wrong. They didn't spend enough time showing that he was a teacher first because that's how he paid the bills.
They made it look completely opposite. So I think an entire generation of people got fooled.
Yes.
I would have thought that a counselor would have kind of steered me in another direction when I told them I just want to be a fat version of Indiana Jones.
Yeah, you would think they would tell you, no, you don't want to do that, but, you know.
As long as the tuition checks were still being cashed, I think they were fine.
Exactly. They don't tell you what you really need to hear. They just say, oh, you're paying us, so we're going to tell you anything to keep the money coming. So we have these 3 wonderful books. Out of the 3 that you wrote or are currently writing, which one's your favorite?
Do you know what? That's like trying to pick a favorite amongst your children. They're all unique. When I start writing something, I will almost storyboard it out from beginning to end, and it never ends the way never follows the storyboard.
No, never.
Like, not to do any spoilers, but in Mjolnir, obviously, Thor is intended to be the main character.
Obviously.
But Freya kind of took over. And Freya is the goddess of love and, like every other Norse god, a goddess of love and war.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, for every god, you might as well just put the word "and war" at the end of their godly title.
Of course. Because you show me any Norse god that isn't in war at some time or another.
Exactly.
They're all in war with each other at one point or another through history.
And in Draugar, we do include one Norse god, and that is the god Mimir. Now, Mimir, at this point, is just a disembodied head. Because in the myths, he was sent as an emissary to a people called the Vanir, who cut his head off and sent it back to Odin. And Odin now carries it around, asking it for wisdom. In the book, he's a little bitter about just being a head.
Yeah, I can see where that would come from.
So he's not exactly spouting wisdom, just more like being cantankerous.
Yeah, it's just you're a floating head. Where's your body? You can't really do anything except talk.
Exactly. And plot and plan.
Yeah, but you can't make through with any of those unless you get into someone's head by talking and make them carry out your plans for you.
Which in Draugar, he's got a Valkyrie helping him carry out some of his plans. She's not exactly towing the company line anymore.
No.
She's more out for herself. Instead of directing souls to where they actually should go, she directs them where she thinks it's fun to put them.
Yeah, I can see that.
That doesn't often work out well for the soul.
No.
Now, Mjolnir, there's a special place in my heart, and there always will be, because on that book, now, we all have our writing heroes.
Mm-hmm.
And I've had two, Douglas Adams, who had unfortunately passed away long before I got anything published, and Piers Anthony. Now, Piers Anthony, I approached his office, said I'd like you to review my work and and give it a review.
Mm-hmm.
His assistant took my request to Mr. Anthony, who came back with the answer, I will be happy to review your book, but I am going to review it honestly and then tell everyone. Good or bad? Still want to do this? Would you still like to do this? Now, I'm a bit of a masochist, so sure, why not? And then I spent the next 4 or 5 weeks biting my nails down to the knuckle. And it turns out he actually liked it. So he gave it a favorable review.
And there you go. See, there's a lot of things we don't know about because we don't always see these reviews, but I'm going to dig up that review and get it posted back on, because seriously, it's such a wonderful review for this book. And you don't get reviews like that. Those honest reviews from someone big.
Especially when they warn you, I'm going to be honest, and then I'm going to tell everybody.
Exactly. you don't get reviews like that. And this one is so wonderful. So I want to get that posted again so everyone sees it.
And it is on it is on my Amazon. It is on the Amazon page for the book. I think it still is. With Amazon, you're never sure.
Yeah, I know. Right before this pandemic, we're working on I don't know, I can't remember if you were writing with me on the Brush Fire anthology.
No,
we updated some things that were missed. There is a couple poems that should have been put into the book that weren't, so I updated it back in March. They still haven't updated the file.
And Amazon also had my book associated with a different Brian James.
Yeah. We can never be sure what Amazon's doing.
But on the plus side, they've been sending me a steady stream of toilet paper. So that alone wins them my loyalty for a while.
There we go, because there for a while we couldn't find it anywhere else.
No, and after the toilet paper is gone, the options are just, you don't want to think about the other options.
True. I mean, we can think about it, we can laugh about it, but really you need the toilet paper.
Let's just end it there. Let's just stop that there before we start talking about decorative starfish and things you shouldn't do with them.
Very true. So, okay, other than Amazon, where can we find your books?
You can find it anywhere that books are sold online. You can find it at Barnes & Noble. You can find it at Walmart, Kobo, or I think it's pronounced Kobo,
yeah.
Apple, the Apple bookstore, so not hard to find.
Very true. And you can just look up Brian James, and it should come up on Google with all of his pages. Now, forgive me if I'm this forgetful, but you should have Facebook, Instagram,
yes.
Twitter, LinkedIn, and an author page at Amazon.
I do have an author page on Amazon, and you can simply go to my website, norsehammer.com, and it's got links to everything.
There you go. See? I try to keep up on my authors, which pages you actually have going on. It makes posting things so much easier. Sometimes. Not always.
Sometimes.
So, other than this one that's coming out in Halloween, what else are you working on that I should be aware of?
Well, there's another anthology coming out, and this one's for the Army.
There we go.
So I've got a story where you've got a bomber crew that crashes because of, and those who know their World War II, gremlins. And it turns out the gremlins are part of the Nazi wonder weapon program. And we go from there. A bomber crew trapped on an island with Nazi gremlins.
There we go. Now, you're probably wondering why we have military anthologies every year. Well, we are connected with Wounded Warrior, and our military anthologies, all proceeds, so our authors donate their proceeds for the book to either Wounded Warrior. Now, the first one is done. Brian has a different thing that he donates to.
Yep, it's FitOps.
FitOps. So, we just started doing this. So, but next year, 2020 November, me with my years, because really this year has been like 6 years all in one. In November 2020, on November 1st, we'll be releasing the military anthology. All proceeds will be donated to Wounded Warrior.
And they don't get enough money, that's for sure.
No. There's nothing that we can give that would give our military enough of a thank you.
Absolutely not.
but we're almost out of time, unfortunately, and this is so fun having one of my authors on, because we could actually go completely off topic and talk about several other things that we probably shouldn't, but they would make good stories.
Absolutely.
But thank you so much for joining me today.
Well, thank you very much for having me.
And readers, happy reading, and all the links for Brian's work for Amazon is posted in the comments. Talk to everyone later.
Have a good day.
Bye, Brian. Thank you so much.
Bye. Well, thanks for having me. Talk to you later.
Yep, this is fun having our authors on here. It really is.
I have fun every time. The second interview I've done with you, I have fun every time.
Yep, I try to. Okay. I will talk to you later and have the link posted shortly.